Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We are now going to connect up with Africa Muslim Agency's regional manager, and that is Hafiz Hussain Choonara, to talk to us about Uganda. Assalamu alaikum to you, Hafiz Hussain. Welcome to the program.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Julie, and to all the viewers and listeners of Salam Media. Shukran for having us on this morning.
Alhamdulillah, lovely to have you, and it's a lovely, clear picture and a clear line. So let us understand your team and yourself currently in Uganda. Tell us more about what work African Muslim Agencies is already doing in the country and what projects will be visited during this trip.
Alhamdulillah, AMA has a base here in Uganda. We run projects throughout the year, whether it be through the Ramadan program, through the Kumbani program. But the purpose of my visit here is there's a drought in the Horn of Africa, in countries like Kenya and Uganda, where, for example, since the beginning of this year, more than 900 people have died through starvation. And in the rural areas, like in the areas where I am currently, people here don't have access to food or access to water. Over the past few days, we've been opening boreholes in different villages in Uganda, as well as meeting families who are in need, Auntie Julie. And the situation in Uganda, or basically in the whole of Africa, massive droughts, and the teams are on the ground assisting families.
Hussein, you guys are on the go all of the time. Every time I connect up with African Muslim Agencies, if you're not in Afghanistan, you're somewhere in Africa. If you're not in Africa, you're in the Eastern Cape. You guys are so busy all of the time. How do you decide which projects to give priority to? And I do know that you're in the right place right now because, as you've indicated, because of the long-term drought there in Uganda, people have been dying, literally dying of starvation, and people are in desperate need of support. It must be awfully difficult and challenging for African Muslim Agencies to prioritize which country you're going to next.
Alhamdulillah, over 35 years, alhamdulillah, as a jury, the infrastructure is in place in different parts of the world. So wherever there's a need, it's not about sending people from our base to the different areas. The teams are permanently based on the ground in the different areas, the different regions. So it makes it easier to at least one, respond to the emergency response, but secondly, to provide sustainable and ongoing projects to empower the communities, whichever part of the world. And right now, the Horn of Africa needs the support urgently. The families, I've met a mother just a few days ago going to one of the rural areas. I've met a mother and her two children in a home, maybe just smaller than our dining room tables, Julie. And to find that, just in terms of her, what she has in her home, absolutely nothing. Waking up every morning, trying to put food on the table, and then walking kilometers every day to find water for herself and her family.
A very sad case indeed, but of course you come across thousands of such cases, not only in Uganda, but all over the world. Tell us what will be your focus as African Muslim Agencies, your focus of work moving forward in Uganda, and how can the general public be of assistance here?
As you see now, I just came off the area of, starting to move again to another village to see more water projects. And of course, throughout, for example, today, going to be visiting projects sponsored by donors of African Muslims Agency, whether it be water and feeding campaigns and sustainable projects in the different rural communities of Uganda. So I would encourage anybody wanting to participate. It is if we are listening to this, it's because of Allah's plan. That we need to do something. We have something.
Hussein, can I ask you to perhaps just stop the car for a minute or two till we wrap up this interview? Because as you move, it's interfering with the internet connectivity. So just for the next 5 minutes, please, if you could stop the car and chat with me.
Don't stop. Okay, 100%.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you clearly, Auntie Julie.
Okay, so let's ask you the question. You suggested to me, I can hear a lot of people talking in the background. Can you ask them just to be quiet, please, Hafiz? Okay, now we've lost that connection because they are moving to the next village. Okay, we've got you back online. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Auntie Julie, 100%. Sorry, there's an
Okay,
incoming call, so I just declined the call, but I'm on
okay.
air. Yeah.
All right. You know what I'm wondering about is you've just indicated that you're moving from village to village. Do you, as African Muslim Agency, your people on the ground, do they inform the villagers that you will be arriving? And do they do a a pre-feasibility to check which villages are most dire in need, and then that's where you go to?
Absolutely. That's what we do in every area that we work in, is to understand the needs of the community we're working in. And of course, connect with the, we don't want to just come into a village and, for example, give out food and leave. It's about going in and staying in that village in terms of the projects that are based. They need to empower the people that we're working with, and eventually they take the ownership of the project, and the standard of living conditions in a particular village is then uplifted going forward. And that's the motto and the idea of identifying areas, no matter where it is right now, in the Horn of Africa, especially in Uganda.
How much time do you spend in each village? Because I know you've said this over and over again, and alhamdulillah for that, is that you just don't go there to the villages and hand out food parcels. It's way more than that. You try and upskill them so that when you leave, they're able to feed themselves. So it must take a bit of time to do that. Okay, we've lost that connection once again. All right,
No,
you're back
absolutely,
again.
Adijali. No, no, absolutely. So what we do is we spend. I mean, the village we were in yesterday. I'm actually going in. I'm going in again to the same villages where we were at yesterday, because this, of course, to identify, meet with the people, connect with them, and then traveling out to other rural areas, far out from the cities, because we understand the drought. We're seeing the news. We're seeing people not having food. People are literally dying on a daily basis. So, of course, is to come to that assistance immediately. One is the emergency response that's needed, but then look at sustainable projects. So, going forward, that community is empowered.
Alhamdulillah for that. But that also means that the field workers and yourselves do spend a considerable time in those villages trying to upskill the people and put infrastructure in place. Alhamdulillah for that. What would you like to end off with this morning, talking to us from Uganda?
To want to thank Sana Media for giving us the opportunity, for being on air and sharing from the live from the ground in Uganda and from the Horn of Africa. I want to encourage all those listening, watching. Please support the African Muslims Agency teams on the ground in Uganda. Teams are permanently based here. You can support and donate towards feeding families that are in need for 1,500 rand, or any amount towards water projects as well, in this part of the world. Follow us on social media. Go to our website. Connect with our officers. There's a drought right now in this part of the world, and your support is urgently needed.
Alhamdulillah for that. Just one last question. We talk from time to time, every time African Muslim Agency is in an area of need, be it in Africa or in the Middle East, you put out this appeal to the South African Ummah and I guess to people all around the world. Would you say that we do dig deeply into our hearts and pockets and make a meaningful difference? Because you guys undoubtedly work really very hard. When I think of the time that you spend away from your families, it's just unbelievable what you guys commit to, you and your entire team, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, accept from everybody, and Allah places us all in the process. It doesn't matter which part we play in, whether we're the donor, whether we're the one in the field, or whether the person driving the truck or the one packing. Allah puts us all in this process. Allah accept the need of every single person. And again, it's about the need on the ground. It's again, Nigeria and all the listeners of Salam Media, we are never doing anybody a favor.
We are never doing anybody a favor coming here or serving. It's about Allah gives us the opportunity to earn His blessings, His mercy, His forgiveness. And it's just an opportunity for us to grab onto as a collective because we know the best amongst all of us are those that serve another human being, that serve Allah's creation. So Allah brings us to our attention and creates these situations. For example, the drought in the Horn of Africa. Well, then we have to respond. We don't have a choice about it. And of
Subhanallah,
course,
Alhamdulillah.
again to your point, the South African community, Alhamdulillah, always responsive and at the forefront of assisting those in need in South Africa and around the world. And Allah bless them and accept the niyyah, inshallah.
Ameen, Thumma Ameen. Hafiz Hussain Choonara from Africa Muslim Agency is talking to us about their current project, which is unfolding in Uganda because of the severe drought there. Go well, keep safe. Allah be with you guys every step of the way. Until the next time, as always, Assalamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Hafiz Hussain Choonara from Africa Muslim Agencies. It is now 9:04, and that means we are joined by our news correspondent, and that is you, Zahid Jadwid. But just before we connect up with you, some news from the marketplace, inshallah.